Woo! Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm here in Granada in southern Spain. Beautiful little monastery type place behind me. So I've just finished work right now. It's 7:30 p.m. and it's still hot as fuck right now. It's July and Spain is in the middle of a heat wave at this moment. So it's currently about 42 centigrade. Earlier today it was about 44, 45. Not just in the sun, and I was in the shade, so it's pretty damn hot at the moment in Spain. So I'm just going to talk a little bit today about dealing with the hot weather, as well as just a little bit of general information about finding work and what it's like working, teaching English here in Spain. So I've been here in Spain for a few weeks now, and I've also worked in the past, back in Cordoba. So I just wanted to share a little bit of insight about what it's like to work here and live here and be here. So for starters, dealing with the hot weather. I'm sitting right in the sun right now, probably not the best idea. But anyway, yeah. Hot weather is pretty dangerous. But the best thing you can do is drink loads and loads of water and stay out of the midday heat. I mean, it's 7:30 p.m. right now and it's still hot as balls. Still pretty much like the middle of the day. So yeah, try and avoid midday. Like, don't go out in the middle of the day unless absolutely necessary. And by midday, I mean pretty much between 10 o'clock in the morning through until about 5 p.m. And you're probably better off just, staying at home or staying inside. Another thing would be in the air conditioning whenever it's absolutely possible. So if you've got air conditioning in your apartment, good. If not, try and stay at work or stay in the office. That's pretty much what I've been doing here because we don't have air conditioning in our apartment, and also because we want to save money on the utility bills, that I pretty much stay in the office during the lunch break. Now here in Spain we do get quite a decent lunch break of about 3 hours, which is they use it as like siesta time. Now lunchtime is a little bit different in Spain because it's long, but it's later. It starts at about 2 o'clock, whereas back in a lot of other countries it's at like 12 o'clock. So you're pretty much working on the go from 9 o'clock in the morning through till about 2 with no lunch. So key is have a big breakfast, If you don't have a big breakfast, you're going to be hungry by 12 o'clock already. Take some snacks with you to work just in case you do get the munchies. But most places in Spain don't really even open for lunch until like after it's 1 o'clock. So you're better off like just preparing for that, just so you know. During the summertime, always drink water, loads and loads of water. When it's hot, try and drink about 2 of these, so that's about 4 liters of water every day that you should be looking at drinking when it's hot. Because even if you don't feel like that thirsty, your body's dehydrating, and as soon as you start to feel thirsty, you're already dehydrating. And the one good thing about summer here is that it's not humid. So while it's in the 40s in Celsius, it's not humid, it's a dry heat. So you're not quite as sweaty and sticky as you are in the humid places. Like back in Italy and when I was in Thailand, it was much more humid than this. But it's still hot, and it's still important to remember to keep up your intake of water. Okay, so a little bit about actually teaching here in Spain. Now, my experience in Spain so far has been with language schools, language academies. But it's not your only option. There are also options of working with certain programs. The first one that comes to mind is Meddeas. Now Meddeas, I believe they're in Barcelona as well as in Madrid. Meddeas, they do work with public schools, I believe. There's another program that I got an offer with in Madrid that was working at a public school. But that's just as a teaching assistant, so you're not going to be an actual teacher there. So teaching assistant, you're not going to get paid as much. And the one downside that I saw in Meddeas, besides the lower pay, was the fact that you're going to be living with a host family, and I didn't Now you have the option to not have a host family, but the pay increase is not much better, so you're looking at shedding out a lot of money for your own accommodation if you don't stay with a host family. If you're okay staying with a host family, then those programs are for you, but it's not for me. You know, I'm 27 years old, I'm settling down, I don't want to be staying with a host family while I'm working abroad. Most of the work that you see here in Spain, and there is a big demand for TEFL teachers here in Spain, simply because it's lagging in English. Like, a lot of Spaniards are still struggling at English compared to their Northern European or Portuguese counterparts. So there's a big demand for English teachers here, particularly native English teachers. Those from the UK and Ireland are still preferred because they are EU nationality. Americans, if you have EU nationality, you should be okay, but just be aware that in a lot of the schools here, they work with Cambridge English, Oxford English, and Trinity English, which use British English as their curriculum. I believe there are some American ones out there, but I don't know too much about them. God, what the fuck's my hair doing? Yeah. Anyway, like, the language schools here kind of vary, but for the most of my experience has been with Cambridge English. So that is the typical program of doing starters, movers, flyers in the young learners, along with the PET, CET, first certificate, advanced. Most of my work here in Spain so far has been with kind of pre-intermediate up until kind of the first certificate level. So those of you who have done Cambridge level English, those are B1 and B2s that I've worked at in Cordoba and here in Granada. I've not had so much work with little kids. I've had more work with teenagers and adults than I have with the young kids, but there are also young learners that you'll be working with as well. I've got to come out of that sun now, it's way too hot. Even at this time, it's still way too hot. So your schools are probably going to be mid-sized schools, not particularly big places, maybe with another 3, 4 or 5 teachers. They might be a chain, they might not be a chain. So they vary by their standards, so just make sure to do your research before you settle on a school. My experience with my school in Cordoba, I didn't enjoy it. It was really, it wasn't so much the number of hours I did, because I only taught for 4 hours per day, but it was the fact that it was 4 hours non-stop with no gap in between it. So it was literally when one class finished, another class started immediately afterwards. That didn't even give me a chance to really kind of go and have a drink or go to the toilet before my next class started. So that one I didn't enjoy, but it was only work in the evening from 4:30 till 8:30 at night. So I didn't have to deal with the daytime work, mornings or anything like that. Here I do work mornings and I do work afternoons, but my hours are a lot more spread out throughout the day, similar to how it was back in Italy. If you've taught in Italy, it's pretty much similar to how it is here, or from a lot of the other parts of Europe I've heard so far. One thing that I've noticed about Spain, though, is a lot of the students are really interested in grammar. And also a lot of the students are kind of like stressed out about their exam, because university degrees in Spain require their students to get B1 level English. So they're pretty worried about getting their B1 level English simply because they want to get their degree. Maybe even not necessarily because they want to learn English, but primarily because of that. They are quite grammar orientated, so make sure you do kind of, if you don't know that much grammar, like I didn't know jack shit about grammar before I came here, just do as much research on it as possible. Plan your lessons carefully before you come in, and make sure you maybe have some internet handy, just in case like your students ask you some question that you're not too sure about. Just, you know, have the internet handy. 4G mobile internet is pretty easy to come by here. You can get a cheap Leica SIM card, it's not expensive if you don't have Wi-Fi in your school. Accommodation here is not too expensive, especially if you share it with other people. but it is generally cheaper than the UK, cheaper than Italy. I don't know about compared to the United States, but it's considerably cheaper than Great Britain, especially here in the south. One more thing to be aware of is the fact that while a lot of people know of Spain as being a hot country, and it sure as fuck is right now, winters can be cold. Like, it can be chilly. Like, I was here in January, a year and a half ago, and it was freezing. It was really, really cold. There wasn't snow where I was, but there was snow in the mountains for sure, and it rained a lot. So just so you know, like, Spain is hot for a lot of the year, but it's not a tropical country, so don't come expecting year-round sun and lazing on the beach all the time, because they do have winters down here, but they're a damn sight better than they are in the UK or other parts of Northern Europe. Other than that, I can't think of anything else to share, so if any of you got any questions about what it's like here in Spain, or teaching in Spain, or living in Spain, you know, feel free to shoot us a question in the comments section, give me an email. You know my email. If you don't, it's jm.davies, Davis, _89 at hotmail.co.uk. That's it from me. Ciao for now.